Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
Welcome back to Outlaws and Gunslingers with your very, very, very kind and humble hosts, Bang and Dang, coming to you for another episode of Mayhem Moida and probably Shenanigans. Not probably, because you clicked on the title already, so you already know what we're doing. It's Waco.
Hey, it's been a while since we had a case where the FBI really messed up something.
It's true. Well, not the FBI, but
Well, same thing.
ATF.
All the same.
But 30th anniversary coming up, which is the 19th of April, 1993. So 30 years. Plus, the week before this, we had the 10-year anniversary of Boston bombing. Lots of massacres and anniversaries.
This would be the 21st anniversary for Oklahoma.
Yeah, well, we already did the
Same
20th
day.
anniversary.
Same day.
We
April
didn't-
19th.
We didn't do it in April, though, did we?
No.
Did we?
Might have.
I don't think so. I can't remember. Waco. We're not going to go through. We could literally have 4 parts for this series if we did the Branch Davidian beginnings and David Koresh. If we did his background, we're not going to do that. We're going to give you a little bit of history on how they got started, and then pretty much center around the charges and the initial raid up into the burning of the compound. So it's still going to be a pretty decently long episode, but I'm going to do 3 parts of this. And people are like, but you did 3 parts on the Menendez brothers. Yeah, we probably shouldn't have did that either, because the third one was completely irrelevant, to be honest with you. Yeah. Too long. Spent way too long on the trial on that one. So that's our bad, but you know what? What are you going to do?
Yeah, that one was 2 hours.
Yeah, plus an hour and a half on each of the first 2. So that's a little bit, that's Wyatt Earp devotion.
Right.
But we'll have the Waco for you. And we'll see if it really is as messed up as everybody believes it is. It is.
Sad but true.
Like I said, between February 28th was the initial raid.
These are type of the so-called religious people that give the name Christian a bad name. Because this is what people think about when they think of Christians. Like these guys.
Cults.
Right.
All right. Well, not really.
Mormons.
Yeah, the raid February 28th, and then standoff, a siege, I guess you can call it, and then the actual shit goes down April 19th, 1993. Starting off way back, though, the Branch Davidians were also known as the Branch. The Davidians were originated in 1955 from a schism in the Shepherd's Rod, which followed the death of the Shepherd's Rod founder Victor Hotef. Hotef founded the Davidians based on a prophecy of an imminent apocalypse involving the second coming of Jesus Christ and the defeat of evil armies of Babylon. As the original Davidian group gained members, its leadership moved the church to a hilltop several miles east of Waco, which they named Mount Carmel, after a mountain in Israel mentioned in Joshua chapter 19, verse 26 in the Bible's Old Testament.
Wow. A few years later, they moved again to a much larger site east of the city. 1959, Victor's widow, Florence, announced that the expected Armageddon was about to take place. Members were told to gather at the center to await this event. Many of them built houses, others stayed in tents, trucks, buses, and most of them sold their possessions.
They had time to build a house.
Right. Following the failure of this prophecy, control of the site, the Mount Carmel Center, fell to Benjamin Rodin, founder of the Branch Davidian Seventh-day Adventist Association, which is the Branch Davidians. He promoted different doctrinal beliefs than those of Victor. On Rodin's death, control of the Branch Davidians fell to his wife, Lois. Lois considered their son, George, unfit to assume the position of prophet. Instead, she groomed Vernon Wayne Howell, later to be known as David Koresh, to be her successor. And George didn't like that too much.
I don't think George probably didn't like that. 1984, a meeting led to a division of the group, with Howell leading one faction, calling themselves the Branch Davidians. Right. And George leading the competing faction. After the split, George ran Howell and his followers off of Mount Carmel at gunpoint. He said, "Get the hell off my hill."
Dead.
Howell and his group relocated to Palestine, Texas. After the death of Lois in November of 1986 and probate of her estate in January of 87, Howell attempted to gain control of Mount Carmel by force. Well, George had dug up the casket of Anna Hughes, from the Davidian cemetery, and had challenged Howell to a resurrection contest to prove who was the rightful heir to their leadership.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my. Howell instead went to the police and claimed Roden was guilty of corpse abuse, but the county prosecutors refused to file charges without proof.
Oh, jeez.
Go there.
All right. 3rd of November, 1987. Howell and 7 armed companions tried to get into Mount Carmel Chapel, intending to photograph the body in the casket as incriminating evidence. Roden was informed of the interlopers and opened fire.
Oh, jeez.
The sheriff's department responded about 20 minutes into the gunfight, during which Roden had been wounded. Sheriff Harwell got Howell on the phone and told him to stop shooting and surrender. Howell and his companions, dubbed the Rodenville 8 by the media, were tried for attempted murder on April 12, 1988. 7 were acquitted, and the jury hung on Howell's verdict. The county prosecutors did not press the case any further.
Well, technically, it wouldn't be self-defense, since if he had a legal firearm and he got fired on first, what are you going to do, man? Even with all the effort to bring the casket to court, the standing judge refused to use it as evidence for the case. Right. Judge Herman Fitz ruled that the courtroom was no place for a casket when defense attorney Gary Coker requested it be used as evidence.
Right.
During questions about the casket, Roden admitted to attempting to resurrect Ann Hughes on 3 occasions.
Oh, shit.
The Rodenville 8 were forced to carry the casket down the street to a van awaiting the body.
Oh, wow.
What? They put the body in a...
Oh, they couldn't have the dead body inside there. Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Why did they even have the casket?
Because they were going to use it in the case.
Yeah, but the judge said no.
Right.
Why would you take it and then before you even ask the judge?
Just in case, man. We got it right here.
That's a little weird. Well, while waiting for trial, Roden was put in jail under contempt of court charges because of his use of foul language in some court pleadings.
This guy was, he was pissed.
He threatened the Texas court with sexually transmitted diseases if the court ruled in Howell's favor. Oh, jeez.
Dang. You get an STD. You get an STD. Alongside 3 charges, Roden was jailed for 6 months for legal motions he filed with explicit language.
Jeez.
Roden faced 90 days in jail for living on the property after being ordered to neither live on the property nor call himself the leader of the religious group in a 1979 case.
Dang, so he already went to trial for this.
Wow.
And he was banned from even being the leader already.
Well, the very next day, Perry Jones and several of Howell's other followers moved from their headquarters in Palestine, Texas, to Mount Carmel, their new home. Mid-1989, Roden used an axe to kill a Davidian named Wayman Dale Adair, who visited him to discuss Adair's alleged vision of being God's chosen Messiah. Oh, wow.
Oh, jeez.
This guy did it, too. He was found guilty under an insanity defense and was committed to a mental hospital. Shortly after Roden's commitment, Howell raised money to pay off all back taxes on Mount Carmel owed by Roden and took legal control of the property. Now he knows he's in charge.
And says now, after these legal proceedings, it was noted in a 90-minute interview by the Davidians attorney Douglas Wayne Martin that the religious group had been back and forth to court since 1955.
Jeez.
August 5th, 1989, Howell released the New Light audio tape in which he said that God told him to procreate with the women in the group to establish a house of David of his special people.
All right.
This involved separated married couples in the group who had agreed that only he could have sexual relations with the wives while the men should observe celibacy. These idiots, I swear. What the hell I don't know. These guys are stupid. Howell also said that God had told him to start building an army for God to prepare for the end of days and a salvation for his followers.
He took all these guys' wives.
How do you get so brainwashed that you let this dude just sleep with your wife?
Right.
And then you're just like, I won't do anything.
They're not allowed to even have contact with them.
Sad.
We keep on calling him Howell. His name's David Koresh.
Well, when did he change his name?
He's already done. You're already...
Oh, right here.
Oh, he does it right here? Okay, Here we go. Howe filed a petition in the California State Superior Court in Pomona on the 15th of May, 1990 to legally change his name for the publicity and business purposes to David Koresh.
Yeah.
28th of August, he was granted the petition. By 1992, most of the land belonging to the group had been sold, except for a core 77 acres.
It's a lot.
Most of the buildings had been removed or were being salvaged for construction materials to convert much of the main chapel and a tall water tank into apartments for the resident members of the groups. Yeah, man, you're growing. You're going to need housing, bud. Many of the members of the group had been involved with the Davidians for a few generations, and many had large families. Dude, that's crazy.
Until David Koresh is like, I want to bang them all. February 27th, 1993, the Waco Tribune-Herald began publishing The Sinful Messiah, which was a series of articles by Mark England and Darlene McCormick, who reported allegations that Koresh had physically abused children in the compound and had committed statutory rape by taking multiple underage brides. He did.
Youngest is 12, yeah.
Koresh was also said to advocate polygamy for himself and declared himself married to several female residents of the small community. The paper claimed that Koresh had announced he was entitled to at least 140 wives, and that he was entitled to claim any of the women in his group as his, that he had fathered at least a dozen children, and that some of these mothers became brides as young as 12 or 13.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true, man. In addition to allegations of sexual abuse and misconduct, Koresh and his followers were suspected of stockpiling illegal weapons.
See, that's the messed up thing about this, too. They didn't give a shit about the kids and all that shit, but illegal weapons?
Yeah, once the illegal weapons was involved, they were like, okay, now we got to do something.
Right.
May 1992, Chief Deputy Daniel Weinberg of the McLennan County Sheriff's Department called the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the OATF. He notified them that his office had been contacted by the local UPS representative, concerned about a report by a local driver. The UPS driver said a package had broken open on delivery to the Branch Davidian residence. Sure it did. Revealing at least a half dozen grenades. He also noted that the compound had been receiving packages from an arms dealer for months. 9th of June. The ATF opened a formal investigation, and a week later, it was classified as sensitive, thereby calling for a high degree of oversight from both Houston and headquarters. Yep. Cares about the crazy shit going on in there. But once you get a little bit of iron and grenades and shit going, and they're like, oh, man.
Well, a documentary called Inside Waco claims that the investigation started in 1992 when the ATF became concerned over reports of automatic gunfire coming from the Carmel compound. So not from the UPS.
Right.
But they heard firing automatic weapons.
I'm sure they were.
July 30th of that year, ATF agents David Aguilera and Skinner visited the Branch Davidians gun dealer, Henry McMahon, Mr. McMahon, who tried to get them to talk with Koresh on the phone. Koresh offered to let ATF inspect the Branch Davidians' weapons and paperwork and asked to speak with Aguilera, but he declined. Why? Sheriff Harwell told reporters regarding law enforcement talking with Koresh, he says, just go out and talk to them. What's wrong with notifying them? The ATF began surveillance from a house across the road, from the compound several months before the siege. Their cover was noticeably poor. The quote-unquote college students that they were trying to portray were actually in their 30s, had new cars, were not registered at local schools, and did not keep a schedule that would have fit any legitimate employment or classes.
Right.
Stupid.
Right.
And they ran into Koresh like multiple times while he was out jogging and shit, dude.
Right. So retarded. If they would have been just open and honest with this guy, because clearly he was willing to at least cooperate a little bit. We will see what the ATF does. There's some morons. Moronic.
Yeah.
Wow. Investigation included sending an undercover agent, which they did, Robert Rodriguez, whose identity Koresh learned, though he chose not to reveal the fact until the day of the raid. Wow. Koresh knew this shit? And he's allowing him still to be there?
He's probably feeding him false information and shit.
Right. The ATF obtained a search warrant on suspicion that Davidians were modifying guns to have illegal automatic rifle capability. Former Branch Davidian Mark Brew claimed that Koresh had M16 lower receiver parts. Combining M16 trigger components with a modified AR-15 lower receiver is, according to ATF regulations, constructive possession of an unregistered machine gun regulated in the Firearms Owner Protection Act of 1986. I mean, if you modify to make it an automatic fully.
That's the law. ATF used an affidavit filed by David Aguilera.
Plus, they had 50 calibers too, man.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is illegal, but
Maybe. I don't know. Sure, you have to have some permit for it, right?
right.
They used an affidavit filed by David Aguilera to obtain the warrant that led to the Waco Siege. The official filing date of this affidavit was February 25th, 1993. Allegedly, the initial investigation began in June, like I said. So now they're saying that a postal worker informed a sheriff of McLennan County that he believed he had been delivering explosives to the ammo and gun store owned by the Branch Davidians.
Okay.
This store was named the Mag Bag, had been identified by the said postal worker as suspicious in deliveries.
I'll get out of here.
Postal worker continued deliveries to the Mount Carmel Center and reported seeing occupied observation posts. In the affidavit, it states he believed there were armed personnel at these observation posts.
I'm sure there were.
Why wouldn't there be? It's not illegal.
Right. Makes sense. The McLennan County Sheriff was notified in May and June of that year of 2 cases of inert grenades, black gunpowder, 90 pounds of powdered aluminum metal, through 30 to 40 cardboard tubes. Furthermore, the sheriff noticed another shipment of 60 AR-15, M16, Stanag, whatever that is, magazines. So AR-15, M16 mags, to which Aguilera made the statement. I have been involved in many cases where defendants, following a relatively simple process, convert AR-15 semi-automatic rifles to fully automatic rifles, just like the M16s. To justify the ATF's involvement in this case, he made that statement. He was like, hey, man,
This is why we got to go get them.
got to be here. Plus, they're doing little girls.
Well, they don't even care.
Right. November 1992, a local farmer reported to the sheriff that he heard machine gun fire. He said, by the sound of it, it was likely a 50 cal, multiple M16s as well.
Well, this farmer claimed he was very familiar with machine guns, having done a tour overseas in the Army.
Nice.
The affidavit closed with Aguilera verifying the story via interviews made with associated parties and gun shops from which the Mag Bag purchased items. Among these items were over 45 AR-15 upper receivers and 5 M16 upper receivers, which Aguilera annotated that these kits contain all the parts of an M16 except for the lower receiver unit, which is the firearm by lawful definition.
All right.
Admitting that neither of those noise complaints nor the items ordered were necessarily illegal.
Oh, shit.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
They just have suspicions that they're transforming using the M16 and combining these two. You don't have any evidence of it.
Right. Using the affidavit filed by Aguilera that alleges that the Davidians had violated federal law, the ATF obtained search warrant and arrest warrants for Koresh and specific followers on the weapons charges, citing the many firearms they had accumulated. The search
They don't even know.
Right. They don't know anything.
How do you get a warrant for something that you can't even prove?
Right. The search warrant commanded a search on or before February 28, 1993, and the daytime between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. Well,
That's bullshit.
that's not daytime.
Wow.
It'd be dark at 5,
Is it different in Texas?
6, 4 o'clock, right? Yeah. The ATF made a claim that Koresh was possibly operating a meth lab to establish a drug nexus and obtain military assets under the war on drugs. Although ATF's investigation focused on firearm violations, not on illegal drugs.
Sure.
The ATF requested assistance from the DEA and the DOD, citing a drug connection based on 1, a recent delivery on the compound of chemicals, instruments, and glassware. 2, a written testimony from a former compound resident alleging Koresh had told him that drug trafficking was a desirable way to raise money. 3, several current residents who had prior drug involvement. 4, 2 former residents who were incarcerated for drug trafficking crimes. 5, National Guard overflights, thermal images showing a hot spot inside the compound, possibly indicating a meth lab.
I'm still not seeing where the evidence is to get a warrant, but whatever. Although the original request for assistance was initially approved, the commander of the Special Forces Detachment questioned the request, and the ATF obtained only a training site at Fort Hood, Texas from February 25th to the 27th with safety inspections for the training lanes and was given only medical and communications training and equipment.
All right.
Good.
Right.
The ATF had planned for their raid to be Monday, March 1st, but it says it had to be before February 28th.
Right. Idiots.
With the codename Showtime, the ATF later claimed that the raid was moved up to the 28th in response to the Waco Tribune Symbol Messiah series that we talked about.
Right.
which the ATF had tried to prevent from being published. That's why dirty the media is anyway.
Garbage.
Beginning February 1st, ATF agents had 3 meetings with Tribune Herald staff regarding a delay in publication of the said little series of articles.
They're
and they're
like,
we
hear you, but I'll see what I can do. The paper
wouldn't have as much
right
effect after the raid, right?
The paper was first told by the ATF that the raid would take place on the 22nd of February, which they changed to the 1st of March, and then ultimately had an indefinite date. All right, and we don't know. ATF agents felt the newspaper had held off publication at the request of the ATF. ATF agents felt the newspaper had held off publication at the request of the ATF for at least 3 weeks. February 24th, meeting between...
Well, they're like, the paper's like, dude, it's been 3 weeks.
All right.
We're going to release this shit.
Yeah, we can't wait no more, guys. A February 24th meeting between Tribune Herald staff and ATF agent Philip Chozansky and 2 other agents. The ATF could not give the newspaper staff a clear idea of what action was planned or even when it would be happening. The Tribune Herald informed ATF they were publishing the series, whether you like it or not. We waited long enough, gave you enough time, and you still don't have an answer for us. Screw you. Which they said is going to include an editorial calling for local authorities to act.
So basically, they're like, dude, we're calling you out before this raid. So
personnel of the Tribune Herald found out about the imminent raid after the first installment of The Sinful Messiah had already appeared on 27th of February.
Mm-hmm. Well, although the ATF preferred to arrest Koresh when he was outside Mount Carmel,
they could have.
Planners received inaccurate information that Koresh rarely left it. I just said what happened.
Right.
The Branch Davidian members were well known locally and had cordial relationship with other locals.
Right.
They partly supported themselves by trading at gun shows and took care to have the relevant paperwork to ensure their transactions were legal.
Look at that, doing everything the right way.
Well, fellow Branch Davidian Paul Fata was a federal firearms license dealer, and the group operated a retail gun business, which we already know, Mag Bag.
Right.
When shipments for the Mag Bag arrived, they were signed for by Fata, Steve Schneider, or Koresh. The morning of the raid, Fata and his son Kalani were on their way to an Austin gun show to conduct business.
Okay, look at that.
They got him, though, right?
ATF attempted to execute their search warrant on Sunday morning, February 28, 1993. The local sheriff, in audio tapes broadcast after the incident, said he was not apprised of the raid.
Damn, they come up in this dude's territory and didn't even tell him.
I'll be so angry. Despite being informed that the Branch Davidians knew a raid was coming, the ATF commander ordered that we must go ahead, even though their plan depended on reaching the compound without the Branch Davidians being armed and prepared. Stupid. While not standard procedure, ATF agents had their blood type written on their arms or neck after leaving the staging area and before the raid, because it was recommended by the military to facilitate speedy blood transfusions in case of injury.
So they knew what was going to happen going in, and they still, whoever's in charge, any advantage of surprise was lost when KWTX TV reporter, who had been tipped off about the raid and asked for directions from a U.S. Postal Service mail carrier, who that mail carrier was coincidentally Koresh's brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Well, Koresh then told undercover ATF agent Robert Rodriguez that they knew a raid was imminent. Rodriguez had infiltrated them, which we known, and he was astonished to find that his cover had been blown. He's like, you know?
All right.
Could have just popped him right in the face right there.
Didn't it?
The agent made an excuse and left the compound. He said, I gotta go.
All right.
When asked later what the Branch Davidians had been doing when he left the compound, Rodriguez replied, they were praying. Survivors had written that Koresh ordered selected male followers to begin arming and taking up defensive positions, while the women and children were told to take cover in their rooms.
Koresh told them he would try to speak to the agents, and what happened next would depend on the agent's intentions, which is very true in all the videos you've seen. Exactly what he said. The ATF arrived at 9:45 a.m. in a convoy of civilian vehicles containing uniformed personnel in SWAT-style tactical gear. ATF agents stated they heard shots coming from within the compound, which is bullshit, while Branch Davidian survivors claimed that the first shots came from the ATF agents outside, which is very true. A suggested reason, allegedly, reason may have been an accidental discharge of a weapon, possibly by an ATF agent.
That's probably, not possibly.
Causing the ATF to respond with fire from automatic weapons.
Sad. Other reports claim the first shots were fired by the ATF dog team sent to kill the dogs in the Branch Davidian kennel. That could be true, too.
They were doing that, and they were running over their cars for no reason with tanks. Well, that's later.
Right. No. Yeah, they don't bring out those until the actual fire. 3 helicopters of the Army National Guard were used as aerial distraction and all took incoming fire. That's illegal. During the first shots, Koresh was wounded, shot in the hand and the stomach. Within a minute of the raid start, Branch Davidian Wayne Martin called emergency services, pleading for them to stop shooting. Martin asked for a ceasefire and audio tapes to record him saying, "Here they come again," and "That's them shooting. That's not us."
The first ATF casualty was an agent who had made it to the west side of the building before he was wounded. Agents quickly took cover and fired at the building while the helicopters began their diversion and swept in low over the complex, 350 feet away from the building.
Yeah, it's low.
The Branch Davidians fired on the helicopter and hit them. Although one of the crew members were injured, in response, the helicopter pilots chose to pull away from the compound and land. Yeah, you shouldn't be flying around, you morons. On the east side of the compound, agents brought out 2 ladders, set them against the side of the building. They then climbed onto the roof to secure it to reach Koresh's room and location where they believed weapons were stored.
Bad idea, buds. Well, on the west slope of the roof, 3 agents reached Koresh's window and were crouching beside it when they came under fire.
Dummies.
1 agent was killed and another one wounded. You can see the video of all that.
All right.
3rd agent clambered over the peak of the roof and joined other agents attempting to enter the armory that they so-called think is there. The window was smashed, a flashbang stun grenade was thrown in, and 3 agents entered. When another tried to follow them, a hail of bullets penetrated the wall and wounded him, but he was able to reach a ladder and slide to safety. An agent fired a shotgun at Branch Davidians until he was hit in the head by return fire and killed.
Yeah.
Inside the armory, the agents killed a Branch Davidian and discovered a cache of weapons, but subsequently came under heavy fire and 2 were wounded.
And so they say they discovered a bunch of weapons. As they escaped.
Have they ever been found?
I don't think so. As they escaped, the 3rd agent laid down covering fire, killing a Branch Davidian. As he made his escape, he hit his head on a wooden support beam and fell off the roof, but he survived. An agent outside provided them with covering fire, but was shot by a Branch Davidian and killed instantly. Dozens of ATF agents took cover, many behind Branch Davidian vehicles, and exchanged fire with the Branchers. The number of ATF wounded increased, and an agent was killed by gunfire from the compound as agents were firing at a Branch Davidian perched on top of the water tower. The exchange of fire continued. 45 minutes into the raid, the gunfire began to slow down as agents began to run low on ammo. The shooting continued for a total of 2 hours.
Jeez, what is this, a Civil War battle?
You ain't kidding.
Sheriff Lieutenant Lynch of the McLennan County Sheriff Department contacted the ATF and negotiated a ceasefire. Sheriff Harwell states in William Gazecki's documentary, Waco, The Rules of Engagement, actually a pretty good one, that the ATF agents withdrew only after they were out of ammo. ATF agent Chuck Hussmeyer later wrote, about 45 minutes into the shootout, the volume of gunfire finally started to slacken. We were running out of ammo. The Davidians, however, had plenty. And all 4 ATF agents were Steve Willis, Robert Williams, Todd McKeehan, and Conway Charles LeBleu had been killed during the gunfight.
Yeah.
Another 16 injured. Damn. After the ceasefire, dude, nobody's done this to the ATF before. They got embarrassed.
Right.
After the ceasefire, the Branch Davidians allowed the ATF dead and wounded to be evacuated and held their fire during the ATF retreat.
Yep, and then a freaking month-and-a-half-long standoff. 5 Branch Davidians killed in the raid were Winston Blake, Peter Gent, Peter Hipson, Perry Jones, and Jadine Wendell. 2 were killed at the hands of the Branch Davidians after having been wounded.
Yeah, put them out of misery.
Yeah. Their bodies were buried on the grounds. Nearly 6 hours after the 11:30 a.m. ceasefire, Michael Schroeder was shot dead by ATF agents who alleged he fired a pistol at agents as he attempted to re-enter the compound with Woodrow Kendrick and Norman Allison, which is bullshit. Psychiatrist Alan Stone's report state that the Branch Davidians did not ambush the ATF and that they apparently did not maximize to kill any of the ATF agents, explaining that they were rather desperate religious fanatics expecting an apocalyptic ending in which they were destined to die defending their sacred ground and destined to achieve salvation.
You know how it goes, though? You can't come to somebody's sacred ground and just do whatever you want. Oh, I know we're jumping ahead.
Especially when that's what they were taught for the past 20 years, that this was going to happen.
Right.
The government's going
to come in and try to
take us. And they're like, holy shit, it's happening.
Well, jumping ahead to a 1999 federal report, it notes that the violent tendencies of dangerous cults can be classified into 2 general categories, defensive violence and offensive violence. Defensive violence is utilized by cults to defend a compound or enclave that was created specifically to eliminate most contact with the dominant culture. The 1993 clash in Waco at the branch, obviously, is an illustration of such defense. No shit.
Right.
That's dumb.
Fuck out of here.
Okay. ATF agents established contact with Koresh and others inside the compound after they withdrew. The FBI took command. So yeah, they're like, you get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
ATF.
but they still fucked up too. FBI.
Well, they take command soon after as a result of the deaths of the federal agents, placing Jeff Jamar, head of the Bureau's San Antonio field office, in charge of the siege as site commander. The FBI hostage.
These guys were idiots too.
Yeah.
No, the hostage rescue team wasn't. They were the good ones.
No, the hostage rescue team were the idiots in the Ruby Ridge.
Right.
Those guys fucked up.
Right. No, these ones here are actually making ground, and every time the ATF got involved, they just ruined everything. Like, dude, we just had, and Koresh is like, dude,
can we get there?
oh, I know. Yeah, I'm
we
so
get there?
happy to get there.
The FBI hostage rescue team was headed by HRT Commander Richard Rogers, who had previously been criticized for his actions during the Ruby Ridge incident. Thank you. As at Ruby Ridge, Rogers often overrode the site commander at Waco and had mobilized with the blue. Doesn't sound like he's doing too good.
Right.
Had mobilized both the blue and gold HRT tactical teams to the same site, which ultimately created pressure to resolve the situation tactically due to lack of HRT reserves.
Right.
And yeah, because they want.
At first, the Davidians held contact information. Nope. At first, the Davidians had telephone contact with local news media. Koresh gave phone interviews. The FBI cut Davidian communication to the outside world. For the next 51 days, communication with those inside was by telephone by a group of 25 FBI negotiators. The final Justice Department report found that negotiators criticized the tactical commanders for undercutting negotiations. They did, dude. Countless. You'll see. In the first few days, the FBI believed they had made...
The FBI negotiators are the ones getting undersides.
Right.
You said it was the...
ATF.
No.
The ATF guys were...
No, the FBI negotiators are getting undercut by the HRT team from the FBI. So it's the own people doing it to each other.
Right.
ATF's not doing anything right
we'll
now.
see. ATF will. In the very first few days, the FBI believed they had made a breakthrough when they negotiated with Koresh an agreement that the Branch Davidians would peacefully leave the compound in return for a message. That was recorded by Koresh himself, being broadcast on national radio. Yeah, so it was, yeah. The broadcast was made, but Koresh then told negotiators that God had told him to remain in the building and wait. They're like, dude, you're supposed to come out. And he's like, yeah.
God has a change of plans. Despite this, soon afterwards, negotiators managed to facilitate the release of 19 children, ranging in age from 5 months to 12 years old, without their parents. Mm-hmm. However, 98 people remained in the building, including children. The children were then interviewed by the FBI. You can't do that.
There was 2 women allowed out.
I said without their parents.
Yeah, but there's 2 women that got allowed out.
Who cares? Children were then interviewed by the FBI and Texas Rangers. Damn it. Chuck.
Right.
Some for hours at a time. See, man, that's not right.
Right.
Allegedly, the children had been physically and sexually abused long before the standoff. Well, that's probably true. This was key justification offered by the FBI, both to then President Bill Clinton and to Attorney General Janet Reno, for launching tear gas attacks to force the Branch Davidians out of the compound.
Even with 26 kids still inside.
Yep.
Ridiculous. This is the whole shit.
They're like, hey, these 12 kids or 19 kids that just let out, they're abusing them. So now we got to fire because this is serious now.
Right.
But fuck the other kids inside.
Right. Screw those kids. We don't give a shit. During the siege, the FBI sent a video camera to the Branch Davidians. In the videotape made by Koresh's followers, Koresh introduced his children and his wives to the FBI negotiators, including several minors who claimed to have had babies fathered by Koresh. Koresh had fathered perhaps 14 of the children who stayed with him in the compound.
Jeez.
Several Branch Davidians made statements in the video. On day 9, Monday, 8th of March, 1993, the Branch Davidians sent out the videotape to show the FBI that there were no hostages, but everyone was staying inside on their own free will, and they can leave if they want.
No, they can't.
This video was also included a message from Koresh. The negotiators' log show that when the tape was reviewed, there was concern that the tapes released to the media would gain sympathy for the Koresh and the Branch Davidians. You know what?
Well, probably because the ATF and the FBI are there for no reason.
Right. Right.
Well, the videos also showed 23 children still inside the compound.
Ridiculous.
And child care professionals on the outside prepared to take care of those children as well as the previous 19.
Yeah.
As the siege continued, Koresh negotiated for more time, allegedly so that he could write religious documents he needed to complete before surrendering. His conversations, which were dense with biblical imagery, alienated the federal negotiators, who treated the situation as a hostage crisis. Why? For no reason, dude.
Right.
They're just there now.
Ridiculous.
What? And even if they did find something, what, did they find fucking 10 guns?
I'm sure there's more than that, but still. There's 100 and some people on the ground, so you can find at least 100 guns.
Well, half children, women and children, they didn't have no damn guns. Well, among themselves, the negotiation teams took to calling Koresh's words Bible babble. As the siege wore on, two factions developed within the FBI, one believing negotiation to be the answer, the other force. Increasingly aggressive techniques were used to try to force the Branch Davidians out.
They did.
Yeah.
For instance.
Wow, you got division within your own little faction there.
Sleep deprivation of the inhabitants through all-night broadcasts of recordings of jet planes and pop music, Buddhist chanting, and the screams of rabbits being slaughtered. They did this for hours upon hours and upon hours, just screaming over loud music outside their house. It's ridiculous. Outside the compound, 9 Bradley fighting vehicles carrying M651 CS tear gas grenades and ferret rounds, and 5 M728 combat engineer vehicles obtained from the United States Army began patrolling. The armored vehicles were used to destroy perimeter fencing and outbuildings and crush cars belonging to the Branch Davidians. Bullshit. They shouldn't have done that. That's all garbage. We're just going to ruin all this property. One was a Ford Mustang, so I guess crush that. Armored vehicles repeatedly drove over the grave of Branch Davidian Peter Gent, despite protests by the Branch Davidians and the negotiators. Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, there's this group. The negotiators were all right, but the ones that were actually doing the tactical shit were like, no, we ain't waiting no more. We're just doing this shit.
Sad. And there's nobody above any of these two competing factions in the FBI that could be like, hey.
Stupidity.
2 of the 3 water storage tanks on the roof of the main building had been damaged during the initial raid. But eventually, the FBI cut all power and water to the compound, forcing those inside to survive on rainwater and stockpiled military MREs. Criticism was later leveled by Schneider's attorney, Jack Zimmerman, at the tactic of using sleep and peace disrupting sound against the Davidians.
Yeah, that's some rough shit right there.
He says the point was this. They were trying to have sleep disturbance, and they were trying to take someone that they viewed as unstable to start with, and they were trying to drive him crazy. Right.
And that's what, yeah. And that's what happens when you drive somebody crazy. You do stupid shit.
And then he says, and then they got mad because he does something that they think is irrational.
Right.
So you drove him even more crazy.
Yeah, this whole thing was messed up. If the tactical leaders didn't get involved and let the negotiators just do everything, it would have been over with, because he was sending people out every day. 3 or 4 here and there, 4 or 5 there and there. Soon enough, it was just going to be him and a couple other guys. Despite the increasingly aggressive tactics, Koresh ordered a group of followers to get the hell out. 11 people left and were arrested as material witnesses. And that's when, never mind. Yeah, they were getting pissed off because they thought, okay, but as soon as we get out, you're just going to arrest us. Right?
Right. Like, why would we want to leave now?
No, you're just going to put us in handcuffs and roll us on out. Oh, your kid needs, that's what they told him, my kid needs us. They let her see her kid for like, what, 3 minutes? And then she went to prison. Wow. 11 people left and were arrested as material witnesses, with 1 person charged with conspiracy to murder. The children's willingness to stay with Koresh disturbed the negotiators, who were unprepared to work around the Branch Davidians' religious zeal. This right here, you already know, okay, you got the children brainwashed. They're scared. They see their guy that's been leading them for years. He's bleeding. He's got a wound to his belly.
Right.
He got a wound to his hand. And he's been saying he's Messiah. Now he got the hole in his hand. Jeez.
Right. Like, how you dying?
Right. Man. So the kids ain't going to want to go anywhere, especially when 20 of them are already gone and no one knows where they're at. I guess they did get to talk to them on phones for a couple seconds. The ones that left. Negotiators were doing a good job here. From all the documentaries I've seen and all that, the negotiators were actually doing a very good job. It was the tactical and the other part of it that was just
because they were all
stupidity.
pissed. They were all pissed that
they kicked their ass.
Well, they killed a bunch of our federal agent guys, and now they're like, we got to get them. You know how these guys are.
No matter what.
Right.
However, as the siege went on, the children were aware that an earlier group of children who had left with some women were immediately separated and the women arrested. They're like, how in the hell we learned that?
And they're like, why would we want to leave?
Right, you're just going to separate us and arrest our mothers.
Well, during the siege, several scholars who study apocalypticism.
Hate that word.
Apocalypticism. Apocalypticism. And religious groups attempted to persuade the FBI that siege tactics being used by government agents would only reinforce the impression within the Davidians that they were part of a biblical end of times confrontation.
Yeah. And do these people not understand that the government is the enemy to these guys? So you're the last person these religious groups are going to trust.
Like we said earlier,
is the
they've
government
been literally
teaching about
getting
it for
preached
years.
this for 50
Right.
years right now, 40 years. That the government's going to try to take us before the end times happen. The government's going to try to.
They'll separate us, and they'll separate us, and they'll try it. And look what they did. They separated them. Oh, what happened?
And the whole time in there while this is happening, Koresh is like, I told you guys, this is exactly what's going to happen. And it's happening right now.
And everybody was like, oh, shit. I kind of didn't believe you all these years, but
damn.
Hey, bud,
Where's that Kool-Aid?
Right. I mean, it could be that stockpile of illegal guns we got. But I'm going to go with your explanation.
This would likely increase the chances of a violent and deadly outcome, obviously. The religious scholars pointed out that the beliefs of the group may have appeared to be extreme, but to the Branch Davidians, the religious beliefs were deeply meaningful, and they were willing to die for them, clearly.
Which we've seen in multiple cults or mass suicides or all that is, which we're about to hear. When these people believe in something, man, they actually believe in it. Yeah, crazy stuff. Koresh's discussions with the negotiating team became increasingly difficult. He proclaimed that he was the second coming of Christ and had been commanded by his Father in heaven to remain in the compound. 1 week before the 19th of April assault, FBI planners considered using snipers to kill David Koresh and possibly other key Branch Davidians. The FBI voiced concern that the Branch Davidians might commit mass suicide, as had happened in 1978. Jim Jones, the Jonestown Moida. We all heard about that. Koresh had repeatedly denied any plans for mass suicide when confronted by negotiators during the standoff. And people leaving the compound had not seen any such preparations. Like, suicide? You guys are here to kill us.
Right. Like, why would we want to do that?
We were just fine. Yeah, they had that one interview and that one documentary of the sniper that was in the building in the front of the compound. He was like, I had him right in my crosshairs. I would have spent the rest of my life in prison, but it would have made myself feel better to get him off the earth. Yeah. I should have done it. Because he would have went to jail for murder.
Yeah, and the dude's an idiot.
Right.
Newly appointed U.S. Attorney General Janet Reno approved recommendations by the FBI hostage rescue team to mount an assault, idiot, after being told that conditions were deteriorating, and that because they're deteriorating because you guys cut off power and water.
Right.
And children were being abused inside the compound.
You won't even let the negotiators do their job, which is negotiate. And it was working.
Stop using the fucking kids as an excuse of why you want to go in there, because you didn't give a shit until you found out weapons. Mm-hmm. Reno made the FBI's case to President Clinton, recalling the April 19th, 1985, the Covenant, the Sword and the Arm of the Lord, which we'll get to these guys too. They were weird. Which is the CSA siege in Arkansas, which is another religious group.
Right.
Which was ended without loss of life by a blockade without a deadline. President Clinton suggested similar tactics against the Branch Davidians.
Yeah.
Oh, Reno countered that the FBI hostage team was tired of waiting. They were not.
Yeah,
well, one half of them were.
Yeah. The hostage team sucked in this one.
Yeah, the hostage team is the ones that messed up and shot and killed Vicky in Ruby Ridge and shit.
Right.
These guys are trash, dude.
These guys
these are a bunch of the same people.
Right. And negotiators kept on getting pissed at the leader of the hostage rescue team.
Well, Reno says that the rescue team was tired of waiting. The standoff was costing $1 million per week. You don't have to be there.
Don't have to be there.
The Branch Davidians could hold out longer than the government. Okay. And the chances of child sexual abuse and mass suicide were imminent. God,
they're not with this.
Okay, even if there was child sexual abuse, because clearly he was messing around with some 12-year-olds. That's not why you guys are there, so stop using it.
But, that shit is bad and happening. It happened, and it's terrible that it happened, and it's wrong. But these people didn't believe it was wrong. So,
But not only that, I don't know, all that aside, moral, anything.
Right.
They're trying to use the excuse now that we have to go in because of
Right.
these children, but they didn't give a fuck before.
but the
That's
children,
my point.
but the children weren't in distress and they weren't seeking saving. You know what I mean? They're thinking, "What the hell are you guys doing?
Well,
We're living happily here."
To be fair, they're kids.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
They don't know what the hell's going on.
Right. I mean, yeah, they're getting brainwashed and something needed to be done, but this wasn't it. President Clinton later recounted. Finally, I told her that if she thought it was the right thing to do, she can go ahead.
Wow, you're the president.
Over the next several months, Reno's reason for approving the final gas attack varied from her initial claim that the FBI hostage rescue team, they had told her that Koresh was sexually abusing children and beating babies.
Oh, get the fuck
With a freaking lie. The FBI hostage rescue team later denied evidence of child abuse during the standoff. Obviously, it wasn't going to happen during the standoff. Like, there's going to be all these people out there, and we're just going to start abusing these kids.
You hear babies crying. And
Right.
Like, come on, dude.
Here. They, like you said, they were pissed off what happened, and it's still not resolved, and they want revenge.
Yep, nothing but it. And like I said, they didn't give a shit about the kids in the beginning when the things started getting brought up until they found out, oh, they might have automatic weapons.
Right.
Literally the same scenario as Ruby Ridge. Oh, what did he have? A sawed-off shotgun?
Who?
The dude from Ruby Ridge.
Yeah,
That's why they originally went off of him?
One sawed-off
That's
shotgun.
ridiculous, dude.
The assault took place on 19th of April, 1993. Because the Branch Davidians were heavily armed, the FBI hostage rescue team's arms included a .50 caliber and armored combat engineering vehicles.
Oh, no, but Reno also says that the reason she wanted the raid to take place right away, or the whatever you want to call it, is because supposedly the unorganized militia United States was on the way to Waco to either help Koresh or attack him.
That was not happening at all. I mean, yeah, you had Timothy McVeigh and all that protesting outside, handing out flyers and shit.
You did.
But other than that,
Little did they know that guy standing amongst the crowd that's watching. That
gotta blame-
exactly what
right?
2 years later he'd commit an even bigger crime than these guys would ever do.
Ever think about it, and it helped Hillary Clinton out,
Right.
supposedly, allegedly. Already, this whole case is so fricked up. Yes, they needed to be investigated, but not like this.
They could have just said, hey, we're sending CPS to your house. You know, like they normally do to you people.
And then you do it in the courts.
All right. Well, yeah, they have the combat engineering vehicles.
Like you said, they didn't give a shit about the children.
Of course not.
It was all about there's weapons there that they can't make money off of.
And they had their undercover guy. Why didn't the undercover guy just be like, yeah, there's weapons?
Right. Like, here's how many weapons there are.
Idiots. Well, they sent in those the CEVs, and they used explosives to punch holes in the walls of the building of the compound so they can pump in CS gas or tear gas. But then they claim that at the beginning, it wasn't actual tear gas or explosive tear gas. Like, it wasn't flammable at the beginning, but well, we'll get to it.
Right.
And they tried to force the Branch Davidians out without harming them. The stated plan called for increasing amounts of gas to be pumped in over 2 days to increase pressure. Officially, no armed assault was to be made. Loudspeakers were to be used to tell the Davidians that there would be no armed assault and to ask them not to fire on the vehicles. Hey, don't fire on these vehicles. We're actively putting tear gas in there. You know,
they plowed through the freaking walls of the house.
Not yet. This
With
is when
tanks.
this is when the tear gas. That's when the tear gas doesn't work. According to the FBI, the hostage rescue team agents have been permitted to return any incoming fire, but no shots were be fired by the agents.
Which is a lie.
On the 19th,
They
they say. When several Branch Davidians opened fire, supposedly, allegedly, the FBI hostage team response was only to increase the amount of gas being used. Supposedly.
Right.
But now they're not going to open fire on people that are open fire on them when they already opened fire, supposedly opened fire on them before?
Right.
Yeah.
The whole thing was garbage.
Yeah.
The FBI hostage rescue team delivered 40 millimeter CS grenades from the M79 grenade launchers.
That's not very big.
Decent enough, though. Very early in the morning, the FBI hostage rescue team fired 2 military M651 rounds at the Branch Davidians construction site. Around mid-morning, the FBI hostage rescue team began to run low on 40-millimeter Ferret CS rounds and asked Texas Ranger Captain David Burns for tear gas rounds. The tear gas rounds procured from Company F in Waco turned out to be unusable. They were pyrotechnic and were returned to Company F's office afterward. 40 millimeter.
Yeah, they were supposedly unusable. That's what I'm saying. They supposedly said they were unusable, but that's supposedly what caused the fire.
All right.
After more than 6 hours, no Branch Davidians had left the building, sheltering instead in an underground concrete block from our room called the bunker within the building, or using gas masks.
Both.
Around noon, 3 fires broke out almost simultaneously in different parts of the building and spread quickly. Footage of the blaze was broadcast live by television, which we've all seen. The government maintains the fires were deliberately started by the Davidians.
Not happening, sorry.
Some Davidian survivors maintain the fires were accidentally or deliberately started by the assault. Only 9 people left the building during the fire. The remaining Branch Davidians, including the children, were either buried alive by the rubble, or suffocated, or shot.
Yep. Ridiculous. It's the stupidest shit in the world. That was the most... And it was all on live TV, the whole damn thing. The whole damn thing, and the hostage rescue team has never recovered after that. But yet, oh my gosh. This is after Ruby Ridge, right? How many years after Ruby Ridge?
Ruby Ridge was in 91 or 92, wasn't it?
Okay, and then when did...
95 for the bombing.
Oh yeah, and then a few years later, it was the guys in... Oregon or whatever.
Well, that was 20 years later.
Right. So I guess they still didn't learn.
Nope. Well, actually, I don't think the Malheur National Wildlife thing, that wasn't... I don't think anybody died in that, did they? Besides, well, the 2 guys, the one dude that was running roadblocks and shit. Yeah.
Right.
But nobody actually at the actual place.
No, yeah, that was actually handled quite well. I was surprised. Right.
Still don't know about the whole reaching for the gun thing when the guy never had a gun on him. But
yeah, that definitely
that's all different. You guys go look up that episode.
That guy was ordered to be dead.
Maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Many were murdered by the smoke and carbon monoxide inhalation, and other causes as fire engulfed the building. According to the FBI, Steve Schneider, Koresh's top aide, shot and killed Koresh and then himself. In all, 76 people died. Ridiculous. A large concentration of bodies, weapons, and ammunition was found in the bunker storage room. When they say large, they mean not very large at all, because they would have said a massive amount.
Right. Well, a large concentration of bodies is...
Right, and weapons and ammo. So if there was, 50
It was the weapons probably that the people in there had on them.
There was 50 people in there, so there's probably 50 guns. Well, 26 kids, so there's probably 27, 28 guns. Which is a decent amount, right?
Yeah.
Texas Rangers arson investigator report assumes that many of the occupants were either denied escape from within or refused to leave until escape was not an option, which that was probably it. It also mentions that the structural debris from the breaching operations on the west end of the building could have blocked a possible escape route through the tunnel system. Yeah, because let's just drive the tanks through the house. Idiots.
Oh, we need to have a way to get these tear gas in. There's 40 fucking windows.
Stupidity. And there's kids. And they didn't even care.
Oh, but they did care, apparently.
All right. An independent investigation by 2 experts from the University of Maryland's Department of Fire Protection and Engineering concluded that the compound residents had sufficient time to escape the fire if they had so desired.
Well, I'm sure they did.
Right.
Well, autopsies of the dead revealed that some women and children found beneath a fallen concrete wall of a storage room died of skull injuries. Collapsed on them. The U.S. Department of Justice report indicated that only one body had traces of benzene, which is one of the components of solvent dispersed CS gas. But bullshit, dude. They were breathing that shit for 2 days.
Get out of here. They lie.
But that the gas insertions had finished nearly 1 hour before the fire started, and that it was enough time for solvents to dissipate from the bodies. I don't know. I don't know how much time it takes,
right.
But supposedly enough time for them to dissipate from the bodies that inhaled the tear gas. A little sketchy on that one. Autopsy records also indicated that at least 20 Branch Davidians were shot including Koresh, as well as 5 children under the age of 14.
Jeez.
Deliberate. That was probably the babies or something. 3-year-old Dalen Gent was stabbed in the chest. Why? What the hell? The medical examiner who performed the autopsies believed these deaths were mercy killings. Yeah, because they were trapped and the fire didn't want them to burn, or I guess. But geez, dude, why did they let all the kids out?
Right.
Even if they didn't want to.
Right.
The expert retained by the U.S. because after a while they would have known that Koresh would have known, and they did know that everybody in there was going to die.
Right. Oh, for sure.
So at
For
least
sure.
let the damn kids out or something. I mean,
Idiots.
well, no, but you're going to go with God.
Right.
The expert retained by the U.S. Office of Special Counsel concluded that many of the gunshot wounds support self-destruction either by overt suicide, consensual execution, or, less likely, forced execution. Well, that is forced execution for the 5 under 14.
Right. Man. Terrible handling of this whole situation is just ridiculous.
And we got a timeline here about the whole event, including some previously unreleased, well, at that point, supposedly recorded shit from the stuff inside the house that support the claim, supposedly, for the ATF and the FBI that the Branch Davidians are the ones that set the fire. So we got 5:50 a.m. Agents call the Branch Davidian compound to warn they are going to begin tank activity and advise residents to take cover. Agents say the Branch Davidian who answered the phone did not reply, but instead threw the phone and phone line out of the door. 5:55, the FBI hostage rescue team deploys 2 armored CEVs to the buildings. CEV-1 goes to the left and CEV to the right. 6 a.m., FBI surveillance tapes from devices planted into the wall of the building record a man inside saying, "Everybody wake up, let's start to pray." Then, "Pablo, have you poured it yet?" "Huh? Have you poured it yet?" "In the hallway. Things are poured, right?" CEV-1 receives orders to spray 2 bottles of tear gas into the left corner of the building at the same time.
Okay. That don't make no damn sense. Have you poured it yet? Well, now they're suggesting they're going to drink their own Kool-Aid?
Or maybe they're talking about gas.
I don't know about that. 6:05 p.m. Armored vehicle. 6:05 a.m. Armored vehicle with ram and delivery device to pump tear gas into the building with pressurized air rips into front wall just left of the front door, leaving a hole 8 feet high and 10 feet wide.
That's stupid.
Agents.
It's bigger than the hole that was in the Pentagon.
That's what did it. And that's what did it.
Just kidding.
Right? Wasn't the plane.
Well,
Allegedly. Agents claimed the holes allowed insertion of the gas as well as provided a means of escape.
because there's not doors.
Agents, right, like idiots. Agent sees shots from inside the compound directed at CEVs. Highly doubtful.
Right.
6:10. FBI surveillance tapes record. Don't pour it all out. We might need some later. And throw the tear gas back out. The FBI negotiator Brian Sage is recorded saying, "It's time for the people to come out." Surveillance tapes record a man saying, "What?" And then, "No way."
Well, 6:12 a.m., FBI surveillance tapes record Branch Davidians saying they're going to kill us, and then they don't want to kill us. Oh. 6:31, the entire building is gassed. Jeez. Hitler's.
Right.
6:47, the FBI hostage team fires plastic non-incendiary tear gas rounds through the windows.
Sure they did.
But they had to do a hole.
All right.
7:23, FBI surveillance tapes record a male Branch Davidian saying the fuel has to go all around to get started. Then a second male says, "Well, there are 2 cans here if that's poured soon." 7:30, CEV-1 is redeployed, breaching the building and inserting tear gas. Branch Davidians fire shots at CEV-1.
7:48.
So now they're trying to say
Right.
they're pouring gas.
To start a fire. Okay. 7:48. Is this actually on videos?
It's on audio.
Audio?
Apparently. I don't know if it's ever been officially released.
Yeah, I want to hear that. 7:48. FBI tapes of agents recorded during the siege. An FBI hostage rescue team agent requests permission to fire military-style tear gas shells to break through an underground concrete bunker. He receives permission and fires 2 shells.
Damn, dude, you got tear gas that can break through concrete.
It's fantastic. 7:58. 10 minutes later, CEV-2 with battering ram rips a hole into the second floor of the compound. Minutes later, another hole is punched in the rear of one of the buildings of the compound. The vehicles then withdraw. 10 minutes later, 8:08, 3 pyrotechnic military tear gas rounds are shot at the concrete construction pit. Not the concrete bunker, though. Away and downwind from the main quarters, trying to penetrate the structure, but they bounce off. An agent in the CAV report that one shell bounced off the bunker and did not penetrate. 8:24 a.m. The audio portion FBI videotape ends at the request of the pilot. 9 o'clock. The Branch Davidians.
Wow.
Right. 9 o'clock. The Branch Davidians unfurl a banner that reads, "We want our phone fixed."
You know, the one that we've broken through out the door.
Right. 9:13. CEV-1 breaks through the front door to deliver more gas. 9:20. FBI surveillance records a meeting starting at 7:30 a.m. between several unidentified males. Unidentified male number 1. They got 2 cans of Coleman fuel down there, huh? UM2. Empty. UM3. All of it.
1
Right.
or 2, same guy. I don't know. They're all unidentified, so we don't know.
Right. And another unidentified male said nothing left.
So they're saying it's already poured and waiting.
I don't know, man.
Oh, a man has seen 10 o'clock. A man is seen waving a white flag on the southeast side of the compound. He is advised over loudspeakers that if he is surrendering, he should come out. He does not. At the same time, a man believed to be Schneider comes out from the remains of the front door to retrieve the phone and phone line. He's like, don't mind me.
Pick this up. We're going to give me a call.
Right. 11:30 a.m. The original CEV-2 has mechanical difficulties, has damaged tread. Its replacement breaches through backside of the compound, though. 11:17 to 12:04. According to the government, a series of remarks such as, "I want a fire. Keep that fire going. And do you think I could light this soon?" indicate that the Davidians have started setting fire to the complex around 11:30. Surviving Branch Davidians testified that Coleman fuel had been poured. Also got people from the thing.
Okay.
And fire experts and Danforth's report agree without question that people inside the complex have started multiple accelerated fires.
Okay.
All right. Well, if we got people inside the compound now saying.
All right. But also you had them saying no. Another gas insertion takes place at 11:43, with the armored vehicle moving well into the building on the right rear side to reach the concrete interior room where the FBI hostage rescue team believe the Branch Davidians are trying to avoid the gas. They're in that little room. You get there. 11:45, 2 minutes later, the wall on the right side of the building collapses. 12:03, an armored vehicle turret knocks away the first floor corner on the right side. Jeez. 12:07, the first visible flames appear in 2 spots in the front of the building. First on the left of the front door on the second floor, and then a short time later on the far right side of the front building, and at a third spot on the back side. FBI hostage rescue team agent reported seeing a Branch Davidian member igniting a fire in the front door area.
Okay.
Maybe.
12:09, Ruth Riddle exits with a floppy disk in her jacket containing Koresh's manuscript on the 7 seals. A third fire is detected on the first floor. 12:10, flames spread quickly throughout the building, fanned by high winds. The buildings burn very quickly. 12:12, an emergency call is placed regarding the fire.
All right.
A little late. 2 Waco Fire Department trucks are dispatched. Shortly after, the Belmead Fire Department dispatches 2 trucks of their own. 12:22, 10 minutes later, Waco fire trucks arrive at the checkpoint, where they are halted and not being allowed to pass until 12:37.
15 minutes. It's
Belmead
ridiculous.
follows shortly after.
Ridiculous.
12:25, there's a large explosion on the left side of the compound. One object hurtles into the air, bounces off the top of a bus, and lands onto the grass. 12:30, part of the roof collapses. Around this time, there are several further explosions, and witnesses report the sound of gunfire, attributed by the hostage rescue team to live ammunition cooking off throughout the buildings because of the fire. Well, these guys are already dead inside.
Right.
According to fire department logs, fire trucks arrive at the compound. Fire begins to burn out at 12:55. The entire compound is leveled.
Ridiculous. That went fast, dude.
And then at 12, 13, 14, 15, 3 o'clock and 3:45 in the afternoon, law enforcement source says that David Koresh is dead.
Wow. That's just crazy. All could have been avoided.
Yep.
The new ATF director, John McCall, criticized several aspects of the ATF raid.
Yeah, I bet he did.
McCall.
Hey, so this guy's like going against his own people, huh?
McCall made the Treasury Blue Book report on Waco required reading for new agents. Nice. 1995 Government Accountability Office report on the use of force by federal law enforcement agencies observed that on the basis of Treasury's
Is
report...
this before or after Oklahoma?
Right. The report says on the basis of Treasury's report on the Waco operation and views of tactical operations experts and ATF's own personnel, ATF decided in October 1995 that dynamic entry would only be planned after all other options have been considered and began to adjust its training accordingly, which they didn't even care. They, like you said it earlier, dude, it was all a revenge mission from the get-go.
Yep.
They didn't give a shit. And the only way for them to make it work if they found out that, oh, hey, wait, kids, and this could help us out. At first, they knew what was going on. But then they were like, all right.
Well, they knew Bill Clinton had a soft spot for kids.
Right. Right.
He's like, wait.
He's like, how many of those can I get?
What, can you fly him to Epstein? Afterwards?
Hillary, get Jeff on the phone. Already dead, Bill.
Don't worry about it.
Just took care of.
I've never seen those 19 kids again that got out.
Kidding. Oh, no. We laugh, but it's true.
Yeah, probably.
The new ATF director. Oh, yeah, McGaw. October 1995. Oh, nothing remains of the buildings today other than concrete foundation components, as the entire site was bulldozed 2 weeks after the end of the siege. Only a small chapel built years after the siege stands on this very site.
But I think the remaining Davidians went back there and built that, didn't they? Pretty sure.
Something happened.
The event at the events at Mount Carmel spurred both criminal prosecution and civil litigation. August 3rd, 1993, a federal grand jury returned a superseding 10-count indictment against 12 of the surviving Davidians.
For what?
The grand jury charged, among other things, well, I'm going to tell you, that they had conspired to and aided and abetted in the murder of federal officers, which they did aid and abet it,
right, and
had unlawfully possessed and used various firearms.
We don't know
that these guys did.
They actually used them.
The government dismissed the charges. They can have like aid and abetting people using them, I guess. The government dismissed the charges against one of the 12, according to a plea bargain. After a jury trial lasting nearly 2 months, the jury acquitted 4 of the Davidians on all charges. Additionally, the jury acquitted all of the Davidians on the murder-related charges, but convicted 5 of them on lesser charges, including aiding and abetting the voluntary manslaughter of federal agents.
Maybe spent a year in jail.
8 Branch Davidians were convicted of firearm charges. They are... These are the ones that received sentences of up to 40 years. Kevin Whitecliff, convicted of voluntary manslaughter and using a firearm during a crime.
Yep. He said I did it.
Castillo, convicted of voluntary manslaughter and using a firearm during a crime. Paul Gordon Fata, which was the gun guy, convicted of conspiracy to possess machine guns and aiding Branch Davidian leader David Koresh to possessing machine guns.
They didn't charge any of these guys with killing a federal agent.
No, they got charged. Remember? They said they all got let off.
All right. Now, but killing a federal agent?
They got
convicted of voluntary manslaughter. That's
of federal agents because the jury dismissed the ones against killing them.
That's true.
Willfully.
All right. Get it.
Renus Lenny Avram, who was a British national, convicted of voluntary manslaughter and using a firearm during a crime. Graham Leonard Craddock, it was an Australian national.
Damn.
Convicted of possessing a grenade and using or possessing a firearm during a crime. Brad Eugene Branch, convicted of voluntary manslaughter and using a firearm during a crime. Livingstone Fagan, British national, sounds like a British name.
All right.
Convicted of voluntary manslaughter and using a firearm during a crime. Ruth Riddle, Canadian national, convicted of using or carrying a weapon during a crime. What was her crime? Aiding and abetting. She didn't get voluntary manslaughter.
All right.
Catherine Schroeder, sentenced to 3 years after pleading guilty to a reduced charge of forcibly resisting arrest. Damn, 3 years for forcibly resisting arrest?
Damn.
Jeez.
6 of the 8 Branch Davidians appealed both their sentences and their convictions. They raised a host of issues, challenging the constitutionality of the prohibition on possession of machine guns, the jury instructions, the district court's conduct of the trial, the sufficiency of the evidence, the sentence imposed. The United States, they got a lot of stuff there to look at.
Yeah, they're like, I don't like any of this.
The United States Court's Appeals for the Fifth Circuit vacated the defendant's sentences for use of machine guns, determining that the district court had made no finding that they had actually employed the weapon.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But left the verdicts undisturbed in all other aspects. United States versus Branch, 91 F3D 699, Fifth Circuit Court, 1996, certified denied. 1997.
For use of the machine guns.
Right.
So
Yeah, I didn't know
any
about
of these guys having convicted of using and carrying a weapon during a crime, convicted of voluntary manslaughter, and using a firearm during a crime.
Yeah, just a firearm, but not no illegal machine gun.
Oh, wait. This is the only guy that had convicted for machine guns.
Yeah, he did.
Fata. Other arms was just firearms.
Fata was the guy who had mag bagged or whatever.
Yeah, he was the one that was... He was on his way to a gun show when all this happened.
Oh, so he must have had some shit on him.
Well, on remand, the district court found that the defendants had actively employed machine guns and resentenced 5 of them to substantial prison terms.
Like, oh,
you want to
wait a
try us, huh? The defendants again appealed. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed it. Branch Davidians pressed this issue before the United States Supreme Court. The Supreme Court reversed, holding the term that machine gun in the relevant statute created an element of the offense to be determined by a jury rather than sentence and factor to be determined by a judge, as had happened in the trial court.
Right.
September 19th, 2000, Judge Walter Smith followed the Supreme Court's instruction and cut 25 years from the sentences of 5 convicted Branch Davidians, 5 years from the sentence of another.
Okay.
All Branch Davidians have been released from prison as of July 2007.
No shit.
Yeah, I mean...
All right. Dude, so these weren't even freaking Americans. These are Brits and Australians and Canadians. And Californians.
Right. We know Californians aren't Americans.
Right.
Just kidding, though, you guys that listen out there in San Jose or whatever the hell you are.
I'm not. 33 British citizens were among the members of the Branch Davidians during the siege. 24 of them were among the 80 Branch Davidian fatalities. In the raid of February 28th and an assault of April 19th. 24.
Wow.
Including at least 1 child. 2 more British nationals were survived the siege, were immediately arrested as material witnesses and imprisoned without trial for months. You damn Brits. You guys tried this once.
I don't think so.
Derek Lovelock was held in McClellan County Jail for 7 months, often in solitary confinement.
That's illegal.
Livingstone Fagan, another British citizen, who was among those citizens
Who happened to be a citizen.
who was among those convicted and imprisoned, says he received multiple beatings at the hands of correctional officers,
Probably
particularly at Leavenworth. Oh, makes sense. There, Fagan claims to have been doused inside his cell with cold water from a high-pressure hose, after which an industrial fan was placed outside the cell. Damn, pneumonia. Blasted him with cold air. Fagan was repeatedly moved between at least 9 different facilities. He was strip searched every time he took exercise. So he refused to exercise. Like, screw that shit.
Yeah.
My butt hurts.
Right.
They stopped lubing their fingers. And they stopped using their fingers, I think. He was released and ported back to UK in July of 2007. He still retained religious beliefs, though.
Well, I guess he would have.
Wow, he's still praying the old Dave Koresh.
yeah.
So what's going on in Britain right now where he's at? I bet there's got to be something going
like
on
the
there.
British chapter.
Did something happen after that?
Call them the British Davidians.
Right.
The Brit Davidians.
The Kreshikans.
Several of the surviving Davidians, as well as more than 100 family members of those who had died or injured, brought civil lawsuits against the United States government.
I would too.
Numerous federal officials, the former governor of Texas, Ann Richards, and members of the Texas Army National Guard.
Child endangerment, right?
Right.
Shit.
At least.
Come on.
They sought monetary damages under the Federal Tort Claims Acts, civil rights statutes, the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations, RICO, and Texas state law. The bulk of these claims were dismissed because they were insufficient as a matter of law or because the plaintiffs could advance no material evidence in support of them.
No, that's not why they're dismissed. They're dismissed because you're not going to do that in the United States. You see what happens when you make them look bad?
Right.
They kill children. They burn them. They burn children. Look what you did, FBI hostage and negotiating directing teams. I don't know, man. I was kind of on the fence on who started the fires, but I want to hear those audio tapes of those supposedly dousing the place with fuel.
I don't recall seeing them in any of the documentaries.
None of them. There's a few things in here that's in none of the documentaries.
Well, we all know just because it's a documentary doesn't mean they're telling the truth either.
Right. The court, after a month-long trial, rejected the Branch Davidians' case. The court found that on the 28th of February 1993, the Branch Davidians initiated a gun battle when they fired at several officers who were attempting to serve lawful warrants.
It might be lawful by law, but was it?
Yeah, but they're still claiming that these guys fired first. Did they admit to firing first?
Well, nobody admitted it, but that's how they're seeing it, I guess.
ATF agents returned gunfire to the building, they're saying. The court ruled, that's what they said, to protect themselves and other agents from death or serious bodily harm, they had to fire back. And these guys were like, bullshit.
How convenient just to say that.
Right. The court found that the government's planning of the siege, the decisions to use tear gas against the Branch Davidians, insert tear gas using military vehicles, and to omit specific planning for the possibility that a fire would erupt was a discretionary function for which the government could not be sued. He's like, don't worry, we can fuck you guys up, and there's nothing
you can do about it.
Right. There's no legal proceedings that you guys can do anything. The court also found that use of tear gas was not negligent. Not negligent with children in there. I think it is. There's no reason for it. They weren't being beat.
Tear gas technically isn't,
but still, right,
fatal or anything. So
FOIA, even if the United States government were negligent by causing damage to the buildings before the fires broke out, thus either blocking escape routes or enabling the fires to spread faster, that negligence did not legally cause the plaintiff's injuries because the Branch Davidians started the fires. And the Branch Davidians were like, I appeal.
The government was like, we didn't start the fires.
They're seriously trying to defend, hey, just because we ran tanks in your freaking house.
Wait, we may have blocked escape routes, but we didn't start the fires. It was already burning since the wheels been turning.
I mean, you guys just went with tanks and just went...
No reason to do that at all.
No. And you guys are running around bored and running over cars and shit for no damn reason.
So dumb.
You're playing shit on loudspeakers forever, and you got children in there, so they're going fucking crazy.
Kids listening to bunnies getting slaughtered.
So you got kids crying, and which is going to make the adults go insane because they haven't slept in days.
Right.
Oh, dude.
Bullshit. I'd sleep still.
You think it's always shit that loud?
Fuck yeah. Dude, you know how many times I fell asleep in my basement with my shit blaring in my face?
Drunker than fuck.
Okay,
I'm sober, you wouldn't.
Get drunk.
Right.
This is shit.
Fall asleep.
Shit.
Right.
They contended that the trial, after the appeal, they contend that their trial court judge, Walter Smith Jr., should have recused himself from hearing their claims on account of his relationships with defendants, defense counsel, court staff, prior judicial determinations, and comments during trial. The Fifth Circuit Court concluded that these allegations did not reflect conduct that would cause a reasonable observer to question Judge Smith's impartial. I'm reasonable, and that doesn't fucking sound like he should be on the thing.
Not at all.
What? He's friends with all these defendants, the defense counsel, the courts. I mean, come on, man. And it affirmed to take nothing judgment. And Andre, whatever, shut up.
The government looked like assholes already by the whole situation. There's no way they're going to allow any type of other stuff to happen.
Right.
Roland Ballesteros, one of the agents assigned to the ATF door team that assaulted the front door, told Texas Rangers and Waco police that he thought the first shots came from the ATF dog team assigned to neutralize the Branch Davidians' dogs, which is exactly what happened. But later at the trial, he insisted that the Branch Davidians had shot first.
Well, of course he did.
They're like, what did you hear? Pretty sure it came. No, what did you hear? You know what? I'm pretty sure somebody from the inside shot first and then sparked the dogs to bark, and then it's exactly what happened. Line cunts. You just had trigger happy motherfuckers just ready to roll. The Branch Davidians claimed that the ATF door team then opened fire at the door, and they returned fire in self-defense. They're like, what the hell you want us to do? Sons of bitches start shooting at us. They're killing our dogs for no fucking reason. That's the shitty part, too. They just go up and just shoot dogs just because. When shit like this go down, they just go and shoot dogs if they're there for no fucking reason.
Yep.
Bullshit. You don't have to shoot the damn dog.
Yeah, man. You don't want to get attacked. Or they give away your position. But in this case, these shooting the dogs there didn't really matter because they were at a kennel.
Right. Probably barked the whole fucking time anyway.
Well, they killed them.
Right.
These dogs did not survive.
That's bullshit. Such garbage. An Austin Chronicle article noted, long before the fire, the Davidians were discussing the evidence contained in the doors. During the siege, in a phone conversation with the FBI, Steve Snyder, one of Koresh's main confidants, told FBI agents that the evidence from the front door will clearly show how many bullets and what happened.
Yeah, you shouldn't have said that, Steve, because now they're like, damn, we need to burn the place down.
Right.
Oh, well.
Well, they even got on the phone with Koresh after that, like they said. And he was like, what the fuck's going on? What the fuck you doing?
Well, Houston attorney Dick DeGuerin, who went inside Mount Carmel during the siege, testified at the trial that protruding metal on the inside of the right-hand entry door made it clear that bullet holes were made by incoming rounds.
Of course you're going to say that.
Why didn't they take pictures?
Right.
Why, he's the attorney. Why didn't he take a picture?
Right, because it didn't happen.
DeGuerin, no, he's saying it came from...
Inside.
No. Incoming rounds, meaning fired from the outside of the door.
Right, incoming, right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, DeGuerin also testified that only the right-hand entry door had bullet holes, while the left entry door was intact.
Right, they shot at one spot.
That's because wasn't the agents on the left side of the door?
Mm-hmm.
The government presented the left-hand entry door at the trial, claiming that the right-hand entry door had been lost.
Wait.
Wait, how the hell did the left-hand entry door survive the fire? Anyways. Or it's a metal. Yeah, it's metal.
Yeah.
But still. The left-hand door contained numerous bullet holes made by both outgoing and incoming rounds.
Right,
Who says they wouldn't have shot it up afterwards?
Right. Right.
Texas Trooper Sergeant David Keyes testified that he witnessed two men loading what could have been the missing door into a U-Haul van shortly after the siege had ended, but he did not see the object itself.
No, this might be a far-fetched thing right here that's going on here, but no, bullshit stuff did actually happen. I'm sorry to tell you. There was some very, 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 very sketchy shit happening from the hostage rescue team.
How do you lose the front door?
Bullshit. Negotiate. I don't care. The negotiating and every documentary, everything I read about Waco, everything that we know, the negotiators were doing their freaking jobs. People were coming out every day, but it wasn't going fast enough for these assholes that were trying to get revenge. And they just wanted it. They wanted to fire their freaking weapons. That's
How
all
do they lose
wanted.
the door?
They didn't lose the door. Michael Cadell, lead attorney for the Branch Davidians wrongful death lawsuit, explained, the fact that the left door is in the condition it's in tells you that the right-hand door was not consumed by the fire.
Right.
It was also on purpose by somebody.
It was lost on purpose by somebody. Lost in quotes. Should be.
Cadell offered no evidence to support this allegation.
What do you mean? The evidence is the fucking left-hand door that you guys brought into the courtroom.
However, fire investigators stated that it was extremely unlikely that the steel right door could have suffered damage in the fire much greater than did the steel left door. And both doors would have been found together.
Right. It's not like one got blown out into the fucking oblivion.
Well, they did with the tank with the one, so that one was the right side of the door was already loose enough for him to just grab it.
I don't care.
And that's what I'm saying. They're loose enough for him to grab it and roll it on out of there. You look at the video, it's the right side that they broke into. The right door still remains missing to this very day. And the entire site was under close supervision by law enforcement officials until the debris, including both doors, had been removed.
Right.
In the weeks preceding the raid, Rick Ross, bitch, a self-described cult expert,
Rick James.
right, and a deprogrammer affiliated with the Cult Awareness Network. He appeared on major networks such as the National Broadcast Channel and the Colonial Broadcast Channel, is that what it's called?
I think it's Central Broadcasting System.
Right. System, yeah. And, yeah.
With regard to David Koresh, holy shit, you're the longest fucking dragger out over sentences.
Yeah.
Well, he later described his role in advising authorities about the Davidians and Koresh and what action should be taken to end the siege. He was quoted as saying that he was consulted by the ATF and he contacted the FBI on March 4th, 1993, requesting that he be interviewed regarding his knowledge of cults in general and the Branch Davidians in particular. The FBI reports that it did not rely on Ross for advice whatsoever during the standoff, but that it did an interview and received input from him. So, okay. Ross also telephoned the FBI on March 27th and 28th, offering advice about negotiation strategies, suggesting that the FBI, quote-unquote, attempt to embarrass Koresh by informing other members of the compound about Koresh's faults and failures in life.
No one believes that, though. They're not going
in order to convince them that Koresh was not the prophet they had been led to believe. It would work.
It wouldn't work.
If you had evidence?
There's no evidence.
Oh, there's evidence on this guy out there.
Everybody knows he went to jail for what he did and all this.
He never went to jail.
Well, he got convicted, or he went to trial for the gunfight with the other guy. He got out. No, nobody's going to believe anything.
I'm sure there's something in his past before he got with this group.
Maybe.
Well, the ATF also contacted Ross in January 93 for information about Koresh.
Several writers had documented the Cult Awareness Network's role about the government's decision-making concerning Waco. Mac Williams, stupid to say Williams, notes that several studies have shown how self-styled cult experts like Ross, anti-cult organizations like the Cult Awareness Network, and disaffected Branch Davidian defectors like Brault played important roles in popularizing a harshly negative image of Koresh as a dangerous cult leader. I mean, he was a dangerous cult leader. I don't know if he was physically dangerous, you know what I mean? He was just, people believed him, man.
Mentally, man.
Man, people believed him. He was portrayed as self-obsessed, egomaniacal, sociopathic, and heartless. I don't think he was heartless. Well,
I don't know.
Towards the husbands.
And kids.
Right. Koresh was frequently characterized as either a religious lunatic who doomed his followers to mass suicide or a con man who manipulated religion for his own bizarre personal advantage. The
Both.
latter. Well, I don't think he wanted to
Both.
do mass suicide.
Well, it definitely doomed him because they could have let him out.
It's true. According to religious scholars Philip Arnold and James Tabar, who made an effort to help resolve the conflict, they say, the crisis need not have ended tragically if only the FBI had more open to religious studies and better able to distinguish between the dubious ideas of Ross and the scholarly expertise. Not even that, is just they didn't even give it time because it was just another freaking wacko in Waco. And just the whole thing is they didn't give two shits about the kids. I don't even care. They tried saying, no, they didn't. Two shits were not given about. You're driving tanks to the fucking house.
Right. Who's to say kids wouldn't have been on the other side of the wall?
They're kids. They could be anywhere, right? I mean, come on. Tear gas and all this other gas and get out of here.
Well, I don't know. They did have heat imagery that they supposedly saw the meth lab that they were cooking
supposedly.
in. But you could see bodies too. So
right. Yeah.
I guess. But
I don't know.
In a New Yorker article in 2014, Malcolm Gladwell wrote that Arnold and Tabor told the FBI that Koresh needed to be persuaded of an alternative interpretation of the Book of Revelation, one that does not involve the violent end. You can't, this dude's an idiot. They made an audio tape which they played for Koresh and which seemed to convince him. However, the FBI waited only 3 days before beginning the assault instead of an estimated 2 weeks for Koresh to complete a manuscript sparked by this alternative interpretation and then come out peaceably. Because he was writing it, right?
Yes.
An article by Stuart A. Wright published in Nova Religio discussed how the FBI mishandled the siege, stating that there is no greater example of misfeasance than the failure of the FBI to bring about a bloodless resolution to the 51-day standoff.
Right. I'm trying, I've been saying it. The negotiators were doing their job. Everybody else was just bent on freaking revenge. And no, we don't negotiate. We do blah, blah, blah. We're going to do what the hell we want to do. That's all it was, man. That's all it was.
That's all it was.
Some of Wright's major concerns about the operation include that the FBI officials, especially Dick Rogers, behaved increasingly aggressively and impatiently when the conflict could have been resolved by more peaceful negotiation. Yes, and it was being resolved. He mentions that Rogers said in an interview with an FBI that when he started depriving them, we were really driving people closer to him, which is Koresh.
Well, no shit.
Because of the devotion to him. Yeah, you moron. What do you think is happening? Which was different from what he said in the Department of Justice report.
Of course it was.
Attorney General Reno has specifically directed that no pyrotechnic devices be used in the assault. Between 1993 and 1999, FBI spokesman denied, even under oath, the use of any sort of pyrotechnic devices during the assault. However, pyrotechnic Flight Right CS gas grenades had been found in the rubble immediately following the fire. There's nothing but lies. You lie about that, what else?
Right. 1999, FBI spokesman said that they had used the grenades, but that they had been used during an early morning attempt to penetrate a covered water-filled construction pit 40 yards away and were not fired into the building.
Get out of here.
Why are they trying to access a water-filled construction
Because
pit?
they're morons.
These devices were extremely unlikely to have contributed to the fire since they were launched into a different part of the compound 3 hours before the fires began.
So they say.
That's probably true.
So they say.
3 hours before, dude, all that shit would have been out.
If they say that's what they did.
Well, when the FBI's documents were turned over to Congress for an investigation in 94, the page listing the use of pyrotechnic devices was missing.
Oh.
Dude, the FBI's dirty as fuck, bro. Why? Dude, we should gather up all this shit. We don't even have to because it's on the internet already.
Right.
Why hasn't somebody brought a case against these fucks?
It's moronic because it died.
Yeah, it's true. Sorry. Hey, we want to take this time out right now to relay the information. We are not suicidal at all. We have never thought about killing ourselves.
Not at all.
At all. And the brakes in my truck and car are fine.
Well,
as I know it.
Right.
The failure for 6 years to disclose the use of pyrotechnics, despite her specific directive, led Reno to demand an investigation.
Oh.
A senior FBI official told Newsweek that as many as 100 FBI agents had known about the use of pyrotechnics, but no one spoke up until 99 because they're all bitches.
The FBI planted surveillance devices in the walls of the building, which capture several conversations the government claims are evidence that the Davidians started the fire. I want to hear these recordings. The recordings were imperfect and many times difficult to understand.
Oh, but then you had some translator that went and wrote words.
No, that's definitely pour gas and start fire.
Kill everyone.
Right. And the two transcriptions that were made had differences at many points. So it's inadmissible. You can't do anything with that. Throw it out. According to reporter Deanna Fuentes, when the FBI's April 19 tapes were played in court during the Branch Davidians trials, few people heard what the FBI audio expert claimed to have heard. He's like, you guys didn't hear that? They're like, no. We just heard.
It's like watching those ghost videos where did you hear that? It said, get out. And then they play it and it's like, they said, get out.
The tapes were filled with noise and voices only occasionally were discernible. The voices were faint. Some courtroom observers said they heard it. Some didn't. So like, yeah, I heard it. That's the one that just wanted to.
It's also like when you hear something, like a word or something or a phrase. Did you hear this or this? And then you hear it the first way, but then you start thinking about the other way and you hear it that way too. So it's like mind fuck kind of.
Right.
The Branch Davidians had given ominous warnings involving a fire on several occasions, supposedly. This may or may not have been indicative of the Branch Davidians' future actions, but was the basis for the conclusion of Congress that the fire was started by them. Quote unquote, absent any other potential source of ignition. You know, all the pyrotechnic tear gas.
Right. I mean,
this was before the FBI. Maybe the damn CEVs came and hit a gas line and did something. You don't know. This is before the FBI admission that the pyrotechnics were used, but a year-long investigation by the Office of the Special Counsel after that admission nonetheless reached the same conclusion because of course.
Right.
And no further congressional investigations followed because of course.
I don't believe any of that whole paragraph.
During the 99 deposition for civil suits by Davidian survivors, fire survivor Graham Craddock was interviewed. Okay.
Well, in this interview, he stated that he saw some Branch Davidians moving about a dozen 1-gallon cans of fuel so they could not be run over by armored vehicles. Heard talking of pouring fuel outside the building. And after the fire had started, something that sounded like light the fire from another individual. And it's up. Professor Kenneth Newport.
The fire was started. Why would somebody else be saying light the fire?
Right.
Not only that, why do they have 12 cans of 1 gallon?
Right.
You could just get 2 5s and a 2. Or
Professor Kenneth Newport's book, The Branch Davidians of Waco. This book attempts to prove that the starting the fire themselves was pre-planned and consistent with Branch Davidians' theology. He cites as evidence conversations the FBI recorded during the siege.
that nobody heard?
Testimonials
Or
of survivors
understood.
Clive Doyle and Graham Craddock, and the buying of diesel fuel 1 month before the start of the siege. Doubt it. They didn't even know none of this shit was going to happen until like 3 days earlier. The FBI received contradictory reports on the possibility of Koresh's suicide.
How long was the informant there for? So maybe they already knew who the informant was.
Maybe. The FBI received contradictory reports that the possibility of Koresh's suicide and was not sure if he was going to commit suicide or not.
The evidence made them believe there was no possibility of mass suicide, with Koresh and Snyder repeatedly denying to the negotiators they had plans to do that. and people leaving the compound saying they had seen no preparations for
No,
that.
there's no such thing.
There was a possibility that some of his followers would join Koresh if he decided to commit suicide,
Or
well,
just,
of course.
or not leave, right?
According to Alan Stone's report, during the siege, the FBI used an incorrect psychiatric perspective to evaluate the Davidians' responses, which caused them to over-rely on Koresh's statements that they would not commit suicide. According to Stone, this incorrect evaluation caused the FBI to not ask pertinent questions and to Koresh or others on the compound about whether they were planning a mass suicide. So they took him at his word and didn't press him about it, probably.
All right.
Sounds like they didn't keep asking him.
The more
Okay, so
the more pertinent question would have been
instead of saying,
Right.
do you plan on committing mass suicide? You can't just outright do that.
The question would be, what would you do if we tighten the noose around the compound in a show of overwhelming power and using CS gas force you to force you to come out?
But you can't do that either because now you're showing your hand.
Right. Stone wrote, the tactical arm of federal law enforcement may conventionally think of the other side as a band of criminals or as a military force or generically as the aggressor. But the Branch Davidians were an unconventional group in an exalted, disturbed, and desperate state of mind. They were devoted to David Koresh as a Lamb of God. They were willing to die defending themselves in an apocalyptic ending, which was prophesied to them for years and years and years and years and years. And when it comes true, they want to go to heaven. And in this alternative, they were to kill themselves and their children while defending their religion. So, yeah, I can see it.
However, these were neither psychiatrically depressed suicide people nor cold-blooded killers.
All right.
They were ready to risk death as a test of their faith, supposedly. The psychology of such behavior, together with its religious significance for the Davidians,
Happens all the time.
was mistakenly evaluated, if not simply ignored, by those responsible for the FBI strategy of, quote-unquote, tightening the noose. The overwhelming show of force was not working in the way the tacticians supposed. Well, we've seen that. It did not provoke the Branch Davidians to surrender, but it may have provoked David Koresh to order the mass suicide. There was no mass suicide.
I don't think it was that. Get the hell out of here.
I guess it was kind of a mass suicide, but not really.
No.
This can't be mass suicide when 20 kids got killed not on their own mission.
I think once the fire started and the tanks started going in the house, they were trapped.
Couldn't do nothing.
I think they were trapped. The Oklahoma City bombing on April 19, 1995, 2 years later, caused the media to revisit many of the questionable aspects of the government's actions at Waco. Many Americans who previously supported those actions began asking for an investigation of them.
I bet they did.
By 1999, public opinion held the federal government had engaged in serious misconduct at Waco. They were like, dude, you guys fucked up.
Yeah.
Not to mention Ruby Ridge and
Now they're all looking. Now they're going back
Right.
through history and be like, damn, these guys.
Damn, you guys messed up. A time poll conducted on 26th of August 1999 indicated that 61% of the public believed that the federal law enforcement officials started the fire at Branch Davidian complex.
Well,
That's a pretty big number.
just like that number's consistent with they believe the CIA was involved in JFK.
Well, that's proven.
Now,
Which always was.
which nobody
Believed it for years.
batted an eye at when it actually came out.
It was a conspiracy theory, and we're all theorists of conspirators.
Conspirators. September 99, Attorney General Reno appointed former U.S. Senator John Danforth as special counsel to investigate the matter. In particular, the special counsel was directed to investigate charges that government agents started or spread the fire at Mount Carmel, directed gunfire at the Davidians, and unlawfully employed the armed forces of the United States. A year-long investigation ensued, during which the Office of Special Counsel interviewed 1,001 witnesses. Damn, Chris Jericho, that's where you got your damn
Oh, yeah, 2004.
1,001 holds.
2004.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, they reviewed over 2.5 million pages of documents and examined thousands of pounds of physical evidence. In the quote-unquote final report to the Deputy Attorney General concerning the 1993 confrontation at the Mount Carmel complex, Waco, Texas, of November 8, 2000, Special Counsel Danforth concluded that the allegations were, you guessed it, meritless.
Of course they did. The report found that certain government employees had failed to disclose during litigation against the Davidians the use of pyrotechnic devices, which we already said.
So did any of these guys get,
That's lying under oath. That's perjury charges. I mean, come on. And they had obstructed the special counsel's investigation. So and obstruction of justice. Disciplinary action was pursued against those individuals.
Okay.
Allegations that the government started the fire were largely based on an FBI agent's having fired 3 pyrotechnic tear gas rounds, which are delivered with a charge that binds. The special counsel concluded that the rounds did not start or contribute to the spread of the fire, based on the finding that the FBI fired the rounds nearly 4 hours before the fire started. At a concrete construction pit partially filled with water they fired them at. This was 75 feet away and downwind from the main living quarters of the complex, which we stated earlier.
Why are they firing those at a
Into water.
construction pit?
Right, because they didn't. The special counsel noted, by contrast, that recorded interceptions of Branch Davidians' conversation concluded statements as, David said, we have to get on the fuel. Statement says, David said we have to get the fuel on. And so we light it first when they come in with the tank, right? Right? As they're coming in? I don't believe any of that, because even the jurors were like, I don't even know what he said. They heard.
Supposedly, though, some Branch Davidians who survived the fire acknowledged that others Branch Davidians started the fire. FBI agents witnessed Branch Davidians pouring fuel and igniting the fire.
Supposedly, you said? Is there any?
Well, they swore that they did.
They swore they did it. Or did they, though? We'll kill your children.
Maybe.
All right. We'll give them to Jeffrey Epstein.
FBI agents also.
He seems like a nice guy.
FBI, he's Jewish, right? Jews don't hurt nobody. FBI agents also say they witnessed Branch Davidians pouring fuel and igniting a fire, and noted these observations contemporaneously.
Oh! Hell of a word.
Lab analysis. Or analysts, if I'm dang. Lab analysis found accelerants on the clothing of Branch Davidians. They found accelerants on the clothing of these burned alive fucking people. And investigators found deliberately punctured fuel cans and a homemade torch at the site. Based on this evidence and testimony, the special counsel concluded the fire was started by the Branch Davidians.
Blah, blah, blah. I don't believe any of this garbage you just said.
Charges that government agents fired shots into the complex on the 19th were based on forward-looking infrared video recorded by the Night Stalker's aircraft. Wow, Richard Ramirez was there doing some shit, dude.
Shit.
These tapes showed 57 flashes, with some occurring around the government vehicles that were operating near the complex. Okay.
The Office of Special Counsel conducted a field test of FLIR technology on March 19, 2000. They did this to determine whether gunfire caused the flashes. The testing was conducted under a protocol agreed to and signed by attorneys and experts for the Branch Davidians and their families. They're
like, how can we fake this?
Right, as well as for the government. Analysts of the shape, duration, and location of the flashes indicated that they resulted from a reflection of off debris on or around the complex rather than gunfire itself. Additionally, an independent review of photography taken at the scene showed no people at or near the points from which the flashes emanated. Interviews of Branch Davidians, government witnesses, filmmakers, writers, and advocates for the Branch Davidians found that none had witnessed any government gunfire on the 19th of April. You lying cunts. Oh, on the 19th of April?
Yeah, the 19th. None of the Davidians who died on that day displayed evidence of having been struck by a high-velocity round, as would be expected had they been shot from outside by government sniper rifles or assault weapons.
Right.
Given this evidence, the special counsel concluded that the claim that the government gunfire occurred on April 9th. We don't care about the 19th of gunfire.
No, we're talking about the 28th. Right. And then
the special counsel considered whether the use of active duty military at Waco violated the Posse Comitatus Act or the Military Assistance to Law Enforcement Act.
Right.
Yeah, you can't have military come in without approval.
Right.
These statutes generally prohibit direct... I just said that. Yeah, so you can't do that.
No. Special counsel noted that the military provided extensive loans of equipment to the ATF and FBI.
They did. That's where they got the incendiary things.
Right. Including, among other things, 2 tanks, the offensive capability of which had been disabled. Additionally, the military provided limited advice, training, and medical support.
Advice?
Right. The special counsel concluded that these actions amounted to indirect military assistance within the bounds of applicable law. The Texas National Guard, in its state status, also provided substantial loans of military equipment, as well as performing reconnaissance flights over the Branch Davidian complex. Because the Policy Comitatus Act does not apply to the National Guard in its state status, the special counsel determined that the National Guard lawfully provided its assistance.
Well, right. Ramsey Clark, former U.S. Attorney General who represented several Branch Davidian survivors and relatives in a civil lawsuit, said that the report failed to address the obvious, which is history will clearly record, I believe, that these assaults on the Mount Carmel Church Center remain the greatest domestic law enforcement tragedy in the history of the United States of America.
Damn right. You were not kidding.
Also to be noted, I guess, supposedly the FBI did find, obviously, some AKs, ARs, 1.9 million rounds of cooked off ammunition. Holy shit.
Damn.
What? 1.9 million? They found grenade launcher parts, flare launchers, gas masks, and chemical warfare suits, night vision equipment, hundreds of practice hand grenade hulls and components, including more than 200 inert M31 practice rifle grenades, more than 100 modified M21 practice hand grenade bodies, Kevlar helmets, bulletproof vests.
They found those bulletproof vests. How come nobody was wearing them?
Right.
I don't know about that. Don't even
Some
read any of that
silencers,
garbage. It's all fake.
flashbang grenades,
They lied.
supposedly.
They didn't find any of that shit.
The Texas Rangers recovered at least 250 caliber weapons from the remains of the compound.
I believe
Whether the Davidians actually fired the 50 caliber rifles during the
Never
raid assault
happened.
is disputed.
It's never happened.
But other than that, I mean, obviously we know that they had weapons,
Right.
and of course we know that Timothy McVeigh was
there.
primarily motivated to do the Oklahoma City bombing for this.
And then he redid, a revenge killing.
Right.
What we do know is the ATF, the FBI, hostage rescue team are garbage, 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 garbage. They go in and murder people for no freaking reason. The stupidest shit in the whole world is just crash in and we're the law. We're the law.
You can't. Right. You
Get
can't
the
fuck with us.
Out of here. Man. Stupid. Could have been avoided, even though the guy was doing. I'm not defending. You're defending what's happening there. Blah. No, you idiot. This could have been done within the law. You guys wanted to jump on the gun shit. This shit.
We already said that.
Jump on the children.
We know exactly why they went in. And it had nothing to do with damn kids.
Ridiculous.
That was just their excuse to do what they needed to do afterwards.
Exactly.
And fucking clearly it worked for them, but
Ridiculous.
well,
Terrible. Messed up cult. A lot of people brainwashed. Still are to today. As we've seen the British guys going over to Britain and erecting the statue of David Koresh.
we don't know that at all, but yeah. I mean, we've all heard the story. We all know what happens. We've seen every fucking documentary about it.
Right.
But it's just it's kind of more
Need to be the situation.
kind of more not personal, but kind of more.
The situation
Kind
needed
of more
to be addressed.
can't get it out of my. It's kind of more weirder and hits you differently when you're reading it, like we just did, like
Right.
reading what happens instead of just listening to.
Or watching it. Watching
Right.
it, it's totally different. I got all the documentaries and all the reading is different from when we just did here. It was
Well, like I said, documentaries aren't necessarily going to all be factual
right.
either. Because
That's why you watch more than one.
It depends on who's doing the documentary.
Right.
Is it pro Waco or
You always
negative
watch more
Waco?
than one,
or-
and you look for the similarities in all the documentaries, and then you go from there.
yeah.
Obviously, the situation needed to be taken care of as fast as possible. But they could have done it with the CPS, like you said. They could have done it with, even if they came in like they did. Okay, they messed up. Bam, we had that shootout for that day. But negotiations, dude, 19 kids and 4 adults got released. And they were planning on releasing more. But no. We don't care that there's 26 kids in there. We're just going to start ramming our tanks inside the building and throwing tear gas. But we're going to lie and say that it wasn't a pyrotechnic. But we're going to lie and say that we shot 4 hours earlier into a water tower or a water basin or whatever the fuck they did. Get out of here. That shit never happened. Lying cunts.
Yeah.
FBI sucks. ATF sucks. They're all fucking corrupt. And they kill people. They kill people. Allegedly.
I'd like to take this time out and admit to you guys publicly that I am not suicidal, nor have ever been. So,
Right.
with that,
And it'd be weird if I had a car bomb go off in my vehicle.
like an Irish
Right.
IRA. Yeah, with that, we're about 2 hours in
Stupid.
right now. We'll probably end up about an hour 50-ish
Stupid.
for this episode. So,
Otherwise,
I mean, I don't think you guys heard anything here that you haven't heard before, to be honest with you. But
we could have went in more detail and all that, but why?
we had to do it for
Waco.
anniversary sakes, 30th anniversary. So, yeah, there it is. I don't think my opinion definitely didn't change on whatever happened.
These guys weren't innocent.
Although I don't know. I guess I'm kind of leaning towards it was the Davidians that started the fire. To be
Very
honest
possible
with you.
that
To
you
be
had
honest with you.
a couple rogue people,
Not rogue people.
a couple rogues in there, or maybe once they figured out they
But
weren't
then
getting out.
then the door thing,
Right. Yeah. See,
trying to destroy the evidence. And when the door didn't get destroyed by the fire, they had no choice but to get rid of
I'm
it.
telling you, dude. Yeah, I don't think they.
So, I don't know.
I don't
man.
think they started on fire.
That's one of those things, though, too.
He wouldn't have let those kids. He wouldn't have let the 19 go and the 4 adults if they plan on doing shit like this. He planned on letting everybody go, but himself, and maybe a couple of his right hand man. That's
so?
what I believe. Yeah, there's no way if he let all those kids. He let 20 kids go. There's no way he was going to just. Oh, you 26 kids, you're just going to die. Nah, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Guess we'll never know, will we?
Oh,
And that was exactly intended that way. So,
Exactly.
with that being said, obviously, you can email us, bangdangpodcast@gmail.com, if you express your opinions, thoughts on what you think actually
and
happened.
just how powerful this guy is. The new Netflix one that just came out a couple weeks ago. Even the lady that's out, I forget her name, but she was still like 12-year-old is an adult. And people are saying that there was child abuse going on, but as we believe in our religion, a 12-year-old, once you're 12 years old, you're an adult. So they didn't think any child abuse was going on, and they still believe it. It's crazy how many people were still defending them.
I hope the authorities investigated her right after that. She better not have no 12-year-olds in her possession.
Right, with a man living there.
Right. Yeah, email us. Also, if you want this on video version plus early ad-free, go to patreon.com/bangdang. Every Sunday. Other than that, you also get Battles of the American Civil War and This Week in Sports History. And with that, we're signing off for the Mother Michiganders with
Bang dang.